What's going on, my fellas? What we're going to do today is rank all the mainline Super Mario games. So we're starting off in the list here, no particular order. We've got New Super Mario Bros. On the DS. This is, I really like this game. It's one of my favorites. This was the return of 2D Mario after decades, well maybe not decades, but years of absence, unless you count the Game Boy Advance games, which are not on this list. This game, I think it is somewhat underrated. Like, this is a very fun 2D platformer that has good level design. It has good power-ups. I love the mini mushroom. The mega mushroom could be better, but still cool. Thematically, it could be better because it doesn't really surpass the NES games in terms of themes. I mean, it has grass, castle, ice, deserts, you know. It could have done more. It could have been more like Wonder. It had no reason to try to emulate. I know it was supposed to be like, oh, here's a 2D Mario game like we used to have. It didn't need to be exactly that. I think that World took more liberties. Even Super Mario Bros. 3 took more liberties in the themes, and so that's a little unfortunate. But I do think the boss fights were really good in this game. It had such unique boss fights. I think those boss fights were better than the NES games. Definitely. Maybe the only NES game that had potentially rivaling boss fights is Super Mario Bros. 2. But these, I think, were better than 3 in World. I mean, you had the giant Goomba. You had the lightning Lakitu. So definitely good game. Not perfect, but I'm gonna have to throw this in A for now. And then its successor, New Super Mario Bros. 2. See, I think this game is underrated. People love to hate on this game, and there are some good reasons. I mean, first of all, it's a misnomer. It's the third New Super Mario Bros. Game, but it's called 2. I don't really know what they were thinking. I can kind of see, okay, well, it's the second portable or single player, whatever. I'm gonna kind of not count that against it. But the game itself is all about collecting coins, and that didn't hit as hard as I think Nintendo thought it would. It is cool to collect coins, but you can't really make a game about it. And I think that's where a lot of people get turned off, is like, oh, collecting coins isn't as fun as Nintendo thought it was, and I just don't want to play this because there are better games. But once you actually look at the level design and you look at the game itself, the worlds and the music, it is still a good game. But at the end of the day, not as good as New Super Mario Bros. On the DS. I do like the final level and the design with the Koopalings flying, and it had good DLC. It had very challenging DLC, I remember that. But a lot of people would put this in a low tier, maybe even F tier. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say this is a C tier game. And then New Super Wii. Kind of a contrast to what I just said. New Super Mario Bros. Wii, I think, is a bit overrated. And it's not a bad game. It's a really good game. And it is revolutionary. It's the first 2D Mario platformer with 4-player support. So that's cool. That's really cool. I have an opinion about this, though. I don't think that the multiplayer in 2D Mario has been handled very well recently. And I don't really know if this is an exception or not, because yes, the game is very fun and sometimes chaotic to play with 3 friends together. The problem is level design has to accommodate many players, and so it kind of has to be open, and that does limit some of the experience if you are playing by yourself, because many people play this game on their Wii by themselves. It's not a bad experience, it's just can't be as finely tuned for one player as the other games. So in some ways, I actually prefer the multiplayer of the NES games, the older games, where you take turns. You know, one person plays a level, and the other person, after they complete the level, can play their own level. I think Super Mario World's multiplayer is actually very good. However, with that aside, this is a good game. It doesn't solve the problem of basic themes. It's a new Super Mario Bros. Game, and I think that the multiplayer is enough of a progression to warrant a good score. I mean, it's very obvious that there's a graphical upgrade. It does look quite nice for the time. Level design, for what it's worth, is quite good. So I'm gonna throw this in B tier. And I know a lot of people just love this game. I do think it's an element of nostalgia. I might be wrong. You're fine to disagree. I'm not going to put it in A tier. I don't think it's as good as its predecessor. Super Mario 3D World is next. I do really like this game. This game, I played it on the Switch, actually, for the first time. Now, this is an interesting game because I think when it came out, people didn't like it that much because, oh, it's another linear 3D Mario, and it kind of got some hate for that. And then over time, after Odyssey released, after there was this return to Sandbox Mario, there was a renewed appreciation for the linear 3D Mario formula. And suddenly I started to hear these people praising this kind of game and saying, actually, this is a really good game. I enjoy having this as an option. So I was pretty excited to check it out, and I will say it did not disappoint. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. Its level design is very cool. The themes are really great. The music is really good. I really like the music in this game. It is interesting that it's a 4-player. It has 4-player multiplayer as a 3D Mario game. That's something that I think is really cool. I think it could be done more. I will say one thing about this game that I didn't like so much was the difficulty level. You know, I did kind of feel like the game was kind of easy in some parts. Champions Road, certainly not. I'm gonna have to put this in A tier. No, I'll put this in high B tier. I enjoyed it. It's a good game. And by the way, B tier is not bad. C tier is not bad. Anything below C tier is below average. So that's... I know that there's been this kind of idea that anything below A is bad. You know, oh, B tier, how could you put my favorite game in B tier? B tier is good. B tier is a good rank. Anyway, Super Mario 64. Mario 64, it's classic. I think it's the only 3D Mario game that has that retro kind of feel to it, in a certain way. Sunshine, that kind of does, but that graphical jump just leaves this in its own identity. The first 3D, the first sandbox, you're running around, you're going to these paintings, you're getting into these cool, well-designed levels, but the aging really shows. This game aged poorly. There's not really a way to get around that. The camera control is the most common complaint, and I think that the controls could have used tweaking. I'm not going to forgive it for all of its problems just because it pioneered a genre. I do think that, if we're being objective, this game wasn't smooth. It did not feel smooth. When I've played it, it is janky. Not to say that it's an unenjoyable experience, but it is janky. I love the collectability aspect, though. I love the replayability in the different levels. I think I'll put this in high B tier. No, I'm gonna put this in A tier. This is an A tier game. I will say that. It is a very good game. Not just because it's classic, but because it is a fun and well-made experience. Super Mario 3D Land. This game is underrated. I actually think, and this might be my hottest take here, I think this is a better game than its sequel, than 3D World. The reason I think that is, for a linear 3D Mario game, to design it for a handheld, I think is a really good idea. I think that the level design in this game was so on point for a linear 3D Mario. 3D World, I don't think the level design was bad, I just think it didn't quite hit the mark, had good level design. And yes, it suffered with the problem of easiness. It could have been harder. I actually did find 3D Lands Champions Road to be harder than 3D Worlds though, but it's fun to play a 3D Mario on the go. And honestly, I would rank this above 3D World. I'm putting this at the top of B tier. Very underrated game. Super Mario Bros. 2. Super Mario Bros. 2, it seems like every time I replay it, I enjoy it more and more. I do really like this game. I'm sounding like a broken record because these games are all good. But hear me out. This is actually not going to get a high ranking. Because, as is common knowledge, this is a reskin of Doki Doki Panic. As much as I enjoyed the experience, as much as I like the unique bosses, the cool, really clever warp zones, which I don't even know all of them at this point, the difficulty, it's so fun to play an actually difficult platformer. I can't rank it high because this game is unoriginal. It is Doki Doki Panic. So as a Mario game, no. It's not a good Mario game. Putting it in D. No, all right. I know that sounds bad. But this is not a good Mario game. This is a good game, a really fun video game. It's not a Mario game. Super Mario Bros. 3. I beat it recently, and it's an evolution on Super Mario Bros. In 1985. It is the one that feels like a natural next step. I really enjoy the world, the overworld. This game pioneered the overworld hub, and it's a better designed overworld than I think any of the new Super Mario Bros. Games, or even Wonder. I think that this overworld is only rivaled by Super Mario World. The level design itself is good. It's not masterful. Some of the levels in this game feel a bit thrown together. Like that one level where you have to run across the spikes with the superstar. It doesn't have the sense of care that I felt in Super Mario Bros. 1985. However, that's only in some levels. In others, it does have a good feeling, and I did like all the interactions that you can do on the map with the hammer item. I liked the final level. It was a very fun final level. Very difficult. The music is just so iconic still. I actually, as a kid, I watched the Super Mario Bros. 3 cartoons.
Do you think everyone's colors will ever fade back to normal?
Sure, they've already started, but it doesn't matter anymore. Everyone's learned that it's not a person's color that counts, it's the kind of person they are inside. You're not taking over Candyland, you Bowser Koopa!
All the real ones watch that show, and that music is so nostalgic to me now because of those intros. Anyway, I liked the different overworld themes because there was nothing saturated at that time, and it even included things that are unique in today's standards. The big world, where everything is kind of big or small. I like the warp whistle. I'm gonna put this as our highest ranked game so far. Super Mario Bros. 2 The Lost Levels. If you're not familiar, this is the infamously difficult Japan exclusive successor to Super Mario Bros. On the NES. So this is the real Super Mario Bros. 2. This is the one that was meant to be. Unfortunately, this is poorly designed. I mean, these levels are only made to be difficult. They're not made to be a balanced gaming experience. They're meant to be excruciatingly hard. I've not beaten this game because it's so difficult. It's fun in its own way. It is fun to have a really hard challenge. Like when it's not on this list, but New Super Luigi U is kind of supposed to be the same idea, just really toned down compared to this. But it does have its own entertainment in that sense. I just don't find that that's as entertaining as an actual well-rounded Mario game. And other than that, it does not expand on Super Mario Bros. Formula in many ways at all. There are updated textures, but it's a little embarrassing how it doesn't seem like a very different game. I can imagine someone seeing footage of this game and thinking that it's Super Mario Bros. The original one. So yeah, I would probably put this in F tier. It's an F tier game. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I was very excited for this when it was announced. I thought, oh man, this looks really good. I wanted a Mario game more similar not in visual style, but in gameplay style to the older games of the 90s and the 80s. And it kind of delivered, but it kind of didn't. I think that the wonder effects are what the game tried to present as its new and innovative thing. Honestly, I did not find them to be super innovative. I think that part of the problem with them is each different level has its own wonder effect. So each different level is kind of its own game mechanic. And there's not enough consistency to make it feel like a package, an experience. They are fun though. They offer a good time. I do think that if you ignore them, the game is actually quite basic in some ways. I think this game definitely leaves room for DLC or a sequel of the same nature. Another problem that I encountered with this game is the overworld. I don't think the overworld delivered as much as I wanted it to. I mean, it was kind of a pipe dream to think, okay, I want an overworld like Super Mario World with all these secret exits and a very dynamic experience. But at least something like New Super Mario Bros. Where there are secret exits, levels, and warp pipes, or things of that nature. There were secret exits. There were a few, but very few. There were not very many. And there were even fewer secret levels. I do remember in the desert area there was a secret somewhere with a badge. But I just felt like there was so much more potential that they could have done. They could have made it more interactive. They could have made it have more secrets. I like secrets in my overworlds, and this didn't give me many. But I still liked this game. Still a fun experience. Oh, and the character roster was really good. This was actually, after a long time of New Super Mario Bros. With Toads and Mario and Luigi, I'm very happy that we got the character roster of Wonder with Peach and Daisy and Nabbit even, and Yoshi. I mean, that's really cool. I'm gonna put this one at the bottom of B. Galaxy 2. Super Mario Galaxy 2 has really good gameplay. I do think Galaxy 2 doesn't have as good a story as Galaxy 1, doesn't have as good an atmosphere as Galaxy 1, but it does do the things that it does really well.
Huh?
What I mean by that is it excels at being a linear 3D Mario game. I think it is better at being a linear Mario game than Galaxy is at being a sandbox Mario game, because in many ways when I'm playing Galaxy 1, it seems like the game can't decide if it's linear or sandbox. And I think Galaxy 2 made the right decision by leaning linear. But it didn't have a good reason to lose the story, and I did find some parts more forgettable than Galaxy 1. I'll go ahead and put this right here, because it is a very good game. Super Mario Land 2. Mario Land 2 is a weird game because, of course, this is one of the Mario Land games, so it wasn't developed by the same people who made a bunch of the other games. I like that Wario's there. I do think that it's cool that they have this new character, and a lot of the ideas are never seen again in 2D Mario. You can go to the moon. I do think that it is hard to not call this mid, though. It just doesn't control super well. The overworld is not great, in my opinion. It is a good advancement from its predecessor, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna put this one in C. Okay, Super Mario Odyssey. This is the cream of the crop. This game is just fantastic. So good. Odyssey came out at a time when linear 3D Mario seemed to have taken over. And suddenly there was this new sandbox 3D Mario, which it was suddenly a return to form. The big gimmick here is that you can capture creatures with Cappy. Okay, whatever. I'm just happy that there's a sandbox 3D Mario game. And actually, if I'm being completely honest, the capture mechanic isn't the funnest part of the game. The capture mechanic, in many ways, I don't enjoy that much. I don't think the capture mechanic is what makes this a good game to me. It's used in clever ways, sure. But many times, I'd much rather just control Mario with his incredible moveset. That's the other thing. This game gave Mario the best moveset that we had seen in any 3D Mario game. And I love the kingdoms. It finally had new characters. It felt like the advancement that we needed. I do agree with the common criticism that there are a bit too many power moons. To me, S tier. This is our first S tier. Super Mario Sunshine. Mario Sunshine, I've heard it described as one of those games, you either love it or you hate it. And unfortunately, I would probably go into the hate it category. I don't know if I agree with the idea that you love it or hate it, but I would lean towards the latter because unfortunately, I find this game to be poorly designed. And I can still enjoy the game for what it does offer, for FLUDD, for the nice atmosphere, but the level design. I find the level design to be bad. It's not just the worst offenders.
Oh, it's okay. You can do this. You can do this. It's okay. It's okay. Yes. Yes, just fall. Just no! Oh my god! Are you fucking kidding me? What happened? What happened?
It's everything. It just feels a little wrong. I do, unfortunately, have to put this in C tier. It does have its moments, so it's not a terrible, terrible game, but I think it is overrated. I think that there's this cult following for Sunshine that I'm not, I guess, and I might be wrong. Maybe I don't get it. Maybe, and of course my opinions will change over time. Right now, I don't see the hype. Anyway, now we're getting to a masterpiece. This game is a masterpiece. Super Mario World, amazing game. And there's a reason that this game is Miyamoto's favorite Mario game. I mean, this, and Reggie Fils-Aime's for that matter, but whatever. This game has the best overworld out of any Mario game, I think, ever. So first of all, you have these secret exits that are so clever, and so many levels have them, that the overworld feels like such a dynamic part of the game. I almost enjoy it more than the actual levels, but that's not to say the levels are bad. The level design is really good. Has all these new power-ups, has the Cape Feather, has the P-Balloon, has Yoshi. Yoshi's the big thing. So, the original Super Mario Bros., you had a small Mario and then you could become Big Mario with mushrooms. And you could get a Fire Flower, but this was the big advancement, was you got an extra hit point when you become big. And I think that this was the first time something happened where I feel like, okay, Yoshi is the next step after you become Big Mario, because you gain even more abilities with Yoshi than just a power-up. That's done really well in this game. And also the difficulty in this game is really good. There's really good balance. It's easy-ish at the beginning, and as you get further and further, it gets progressively harder and harder to a noticeable degree, something that other games you don't notice as much. This game has a noticeable progression of difficulty. And Star Road is just insane, but it's so fun. It's a really fun challenge. I also like that there's a sense of story here that is, you get these text boxes after you defeat the Koopalings in these castles, and they say things like Mario's journey is about to get more difficult. They have these little tidbits of information that make the game more enjoyable. This is easy S tier, top of the tier list. Okay, here we've got Super Mario Bros. The OG, the classic, the one that everyone's played for their NES. For its time, very original. It's a really good example of people taking advantage of everything they can to make the game work, with reusing sprites, reusing assets. Seems like they've taken all these strategies to compress it into a fun game, and yet it doesn't suffer because of that. So the level design is so iconic, and it's so good because of that. I mean, There's a reason that everyone is familiar with 1-1, 1-2, 1-3. I mean, these levels, you can find video breakdowns of why even like certain question mark blocks are placed where, and it's like, wow, I didn't like this stuff is so thought out. It's not just randomly placed. It's so thought out. It's really impressive to me. The warp zones are iconic. That's something that's become a standard in video games now, warp zones. The music is so good. Koji Kondo's composing here is iconic. Everything, I mean, this game screams iconic. Problems with this game. The multiplayer should not have been you go until you die. It should have been you beat the level, someone else's turn. The other flaws of the game I kind of just think exist because of the time. And I will mention that, okay, for example, thematically basic. No good boss fights. The boss fights are not good. But the reason that I'm not really counting these as much against it is because it was a first, and there wasn't a standard that was already set. So I am going to put this at the top of A tier. Next up, we've got Super Mario Galaxy. Amazing game. I am right now in the group that thinks Mario Galaxy 1 is better than Mario Galaxy 2. And I know that's kind of a contested point, but I do believe that. I think that Mario Galaxy 1 has better atmosphere, better story, sometimes better levels, not all the time. I don't think it demanded a sequel, but we still got one, and it was still really good. The Comet Observatory, I mean, this game is so nostalgic to me, so I'm going to try to separate that from the objective ranking, but the Comet Observatory is a really good hub world. The music, I mean, the music in this game is absurd. I don't even think of Mario Galaxy's music as video game music. It just sounds like really good music. This is such a masterpiece. The Comet Observatory music. Gusty Gardens Galaxy is the most well-known, probably. Others, Good Egg Galaxy. Space Junk Galaxy. The Purple Coin Comet. I mean, these songs are so iconic and they hit every single time. And it's one after the other. They're all good. So, this is an S tier for me. This is going right there. Super Mario Land for the Game Boy. First handheld mainline Mario. Not a great game though. Very short game. Poor controls. But it was limited for its time. And I actually think that it's gonna go in D tier. I didn't enjoy it, but some people do. New Super Mario Bros. U. Now see, this is a game that I have a lot of nostalgia for, but I'm gonna separate that from it because objectively it's very similar to New Super Mario Bros. Wii. And I'm not thinking of the deluxe version on the Switch. This is the Wii U version. At this point, there was no excuse for the lack of thematic liberties taken. I mean, there were so many chances, and this one, they still didn't take it. They just had grass, desert, snow, water. Like, come on, you should have taken the chance. You should have gone with some cool, I don't know, some city level or chocolate or food themed world or pirate area, you know? They could have done so many things, but no, they didn't. Whatever. I liked the shortcuts from the levels. The multiplayer was about the same as New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I think it was a slightly better game though. Partially because of the connected overworld. Partially because of just looking better. I'm gonna put it right above New Super Wii. And finally we've got Bowser's Fury. I feel like I have the minority opinion here, which is that I'm not a big fan of Bowser's Fury. It's a little slice of what it might look like to have an open world 3D Mario. And I am of the opinion that we do not need an open world 3D Mario. I like sandbox games, but I don't think we need an open world. And I'd be happy to try one, but I don't think that that's the natural next step. It might be what they're doing. It does, I understand that feeling like, okay, how do we move up from here? What have we not done? Open world. I understand that. But when I played this game, I realized it's just a bunch of levels placed in an area. And all that it accomplishes, in my opinion, is getting rid of a hub. And that is one of my only problems with Odyssey, is that there is no hub. A game like Odyssey, in its structure, could have a hub. This game couldn't really have a hub because that would defeat the purpose of the open world, but I would argue there's not much purpose of the open world to begin with. Okay, maybe I'm biased because this is such a small game. Maybe it doesn't show me what an open world could actually achieve, the grandeur of it all. I still think that the level design was not Mario's finest. I also feel like the themes were just not there. Like, you go to these areas and it's just colored blocks. It's just these very basic shapes, and it kind of just feels in retrospect like this was a way to sell 3D World. No, I know it's not. I know it is its own original thing, but with that said, the game still had its fun moments. I liked the movement, the 360-degree movement. I liked using the power-ups from 3D World in that area. I'm gonna give this one a C tier. There it is. And so this is my ranking. I was a little hesitant to even do this because I think that I have some unpopular opinions here. I know that I may have used the word objective in this video a few times. To clarify, I'm not saying that this is actually objective. Of course, this is subjective. This is opinionated. There's no real way to say that something is best. I'm sure that this is very different from someone else's. So yeah, but thank you for checking it out anyway. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope that you do have a good day. Thank you.